Hi everyone, this is the Florida Empowerment Opportunity Grant Proposal Development Plan done for EDH6503 Resource Development in Higher Education, taught by Dr. Lindsay, summer 2024, presented by myself, Camilla Mwango. The Florida Empowerment Opportunity Grant is to support non-traditional students. Those are students who often face unique challenges like balancing education with work and family responsibilities. The project's grounded in key theoretical frameworks like resource dependency theory and philanthropic mirroring. The theories guide the proposal development and ensure that the project aligns with stakeholder interests and ensures that the necessary resources are secured to make the project successful. The ultimate goal is to create a seamless funding pathway for non-traditional students. At a very high level, the proposal seeks to identify and address the specific funding challenges faced by non-traditional students in Florida. And by analyzing the gaps and developing Florida-specific policy recommendations, the project is aiming to ensure that students have continuous financial support. The concept is supported by existing literature, including Cohen and Brar's insights on the challenges faced by community colleges, which often serve a large number of non-traditional students. The outcome will be policy recommendations that are tailored to the unique needs of Florida's non-traditional student population. Like non-traditional students in many places, non-traditional students in Florida face several significant challenges, including breaks in education, financial instability, and often lack of tailored support that's specific to their needs. Challenges often result in lower completion rates and increased financial burden. Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed highlights the importance of inclusive education that supports marginalized students. And in line with this, the project will identify funding gaps that exacerbate the challenges and propose solutions that provide continuous financial support to help the students succeed. The grant has four key objectives. The first is to analyze current funding gaps for non-traditional students. Second, to develop policy recommendations that are tailored to Florida's educational landscape. Third, test these recommendations through a pilot program. And then finally, to advocate for statewide adoption of successful policies. The objectives are in line with Tinto's theory of student retention, which emphasizes the critical role of institutional support in student success. By focusing The research and data collection plan involves conducting a thorough literature review and gathering data from Florida's institutions. Um, then conducting qualitative research methods to ensure a comprehensive understanding of the challenges faced by non-traditional students. The rigorous academic approach will provide the foundation for developing effective policy recommendations that are grounded in evidence. Engaging with key stakeholders is critical to the success of the project. Working with policymakers, educational leaders, and student representatives to ensure that the policy recommendations meet the needs of the non-traditional students. And using concepts of philanthropic mirroring, the project can then align stakeholder interests with the goals of the grant, ensuring stakeholder support. Continuous feedback from the stakeholders is vital in refining the recommendations and making sure they're practical and impactful. The policy development process involves several key steps, which are drafting the initial recommendations based on research, assuring that these align with state education goals, and incorporating multiple rounds of feedback from the stakeholders. Resource dependency theory guides the process, helping to secure the external resources and enhance institutional effectiveness. The goal is to develop policy recommendations that are both innovative and realistic, supported by strong institutional and stakeholder backing. The next step would be to design a pilot program to test the proposed funding model. Um, there would be specific institutions selected for the pilot, and then using those selected institutions, developing a detailed implementation plan with clear timelines and set an evaluation metric to measure success. Drawing on best practices such as Klein-Collins' work on prior learning assessments, the project will ensure that the pilot program is designed to shorten time to degree for non-traditional students. The pilot allows for the project to have a continuous feedback loop and allow the approach to be refined before implementing on a broader scale. So the logic model for this project is extremely important, and the project includes inputs like grant funding and stakeholder feedback. The activities are research, stakeholder engagement, and policy development. And then outputs are reports and policy recommendation, and of course outcomes. That's the meat and potatoes. That's what everyone's looking for. The outcomes include increased awareness and adoption of the funding pathways. The model serves as a structured framework to guide the project from start to finish, and helps ensure that each component aligns with the overall objectives and contributes to the success of the grant. The final proposal will include several key components: a detailed narrative that outlines the problem, objectives, methodology, and expected outcomes, a budget plan that justifies the funding needed for research, policy development, and the pilot program, and an evaluation plan that will measure the success and impact of the grant. By following these best practices in grant writing, as outlined by Worth, um, the project would ensure that the proposal is comprehensive and competitive, increasing the chances of securing the necessary funds. Looking ahead, the next steps would be to identify real grant funding opportunities and draft the proposal sections, getting feedback from stakeholders, then finalizing the proposal. Throughout the process, there would be ongoing literature review and continuing to engage with stakeholders to ensure the proposal um, remains aligned with the needs and expectations for the subject population, which is non-traditional students. There's a timeline to ensure that all actions are completed on schedule and that we meet the grant application deadlines. So you notice on the last slide that identifying real grant opportunities was crossed out as a next step. So these are the real potential grant opportunities that were resourced after reviewing several funding sources at several key organizations. And these organizations do provide opportunities and funding that are aligned with these grant goals, and they're mostly surrounding student success, but specifically student success for underserved populations. So these would be key grant funding opportunities for aligned with this particular grant proposal. So to wrap it all up, the Florida Empowerment Opportunity Grant would be a crucial initiative aimed at providing continuous financial support for non-traditional students in Florida by addressing the funding gaps that can hinder this particular group of students' progress. We can improve educational outcomes and contribute to the broader educational theory and practice. These are some of the references that provide the academic foundation for this project. These sources include the theories, research methods, and best practices that have guided the development of the proposal. Reviewing these references will provide a deeper understanding of the concepts and strategies that were employed, and um, the use of these sources ensures that the proposal is grounded in rigorous academic research. So, thank you for your attention and your interest in the Florida Empowerment Opportunity Grant proposal. And I look forward to the rigorous discussion on all of our projects.